moving on to our final inductee into the Hall of Fame this year. And okay, everybody knows about Heritage, and not just in the coin market. This is an incredible company that sells, not just more coins than anybody, more dinosaur bones than everybody. I mean, what an incredible company they are. Probably, in my opinion, the best IT in all of collectibles, leaving Sotheby's and Christie's and some major companies, in my opinion, way in the dust. And just the epitome of professionalism. But Steve Ivey, the co-founder of Heritage, this is not just what he's done in the past 5 or 10 years. We're talking about a 50-year career, starting in 1964. And maybe some of you remember, now they say, gee, with the internet, you could be 14 years old and start a business and nobody would even know that you're only 14. Well, in 1964, there used to be these things called print ads, print advertising. You may have remembered them, and there were newspapers that had classified ads, way back in the day. The LA Times Sunday Classified was that thick. And so in 1964, you could be 14 years old and run an ad in Numismatic News, Coin World, or the trade papers. And you could, if you were really good at coins and really knew what you were doing and knew how to buy them and knew how to grade them and knew how to price them, you could be a coin dealer at 14. And Steve Ivey started at 14, 1964. So Steve, it's your 50th anniversary in the coin business, and that's worth a round of applause. In the 70s, Steve Ivey Rare Coins, us coin dealers are really creative in what we name our companies. What's the name of your company, Kevin?
Kevin Lipton Rare Coins.
And Van, the name of our coin company? David. David Hall Rare Coins. So anyway, Steve, in a fit of creativity.
Actually, it was different. It was Sir Coins.
It actually, he had a little thing that said Sir Coins, Steve Ivey.
The guy with the monocle.
Yeah, a little monocle, Sir Coins. Anyway, so in the 70s, as Steve was traveling the show circuit and doing a lot of advertising, selling both retail and wholesale, he really became a major force in the coin business. 1976 started Steve Ivey Numismatic Auctions, which is now Heritage Auctions. And really interestingly, both he and his Heritage co-founder, Jim Halpern, really in their two separate companies in the 70s, brought the coin business to a whole new level of professionalism. And they really approached it, not that other people didn't approach it as a business, and it wasn't all mom and pop, there was some big companies, but and huge auction houses, huge relative for the time. But the professionalism that they brought to their industry started in the 70s. So it's not just what Heritage has done lately. When I think of a coin dealer, okay, and there's a certain set of skills, okay, do you know about coins? Okay, which date is rare? 63P10, 63S10, or whatever, something like that. Okay, do you know your coins? Okay, the bar being, of course, the walking encyclopedia, Q. David Bowers. Okay, what's your coin knowledge? The second is not just you can know about them, but can you actually buy and sell them? Can you go out on the bourse floor, buy that coin, sell it there? Are you that good at it? Of course, there's this other component, grading. Okay, so Mr. Ivey, if you looked at his skill set, he absolutely, without question, a world-class coin expert. He knew how to buy and sell them, and still does, with the best of them. In fact, it was a couple of years ago, I said, Steve, who now manages this huge company, Heritage, and isn't out on the bourse floor, I said, if you went out on the bourse floor and started buying and selling coins, how long would it take? And I think he said, 3 to 6 months. He can buy and sell with the best of them, and he had great eye back in the day. Hope your eyes are still good. Okay, could have been a PCGS grader if he wanted to. I'm sure he couldn't take the salary reduction, but so total 10 for all of the skill sets that make a coin dealer. And then it's how many coins have you sold? What coins have you sold? What collections have you built? What collections have you sold? And of course, Steve has done as much as almost anybody in that regard. And then you add to it the contribution to the industry. And if you look at the Heritage website, you would just, I go on it every day. I'm so thankful it's there. What a great contribution Steve has made to our market, our community, and what help he has done for collectors for 50 years now. And so with that, Mr. Lipton has a few stories, as always.
Storyteller. Interesting enough, coincidence enough, my first A&A was 1974, which was 41 years ago. I was 14 years old. It was in Miami. I was down there with my mom. Wasn't happy she was there, but she was with me. I had to be watched. And I remember standing in line to show coins to, not this guy, but Jim Ruddy. And I was there with my one little box of coins, and there was this guy in line right ahead of me with big fro out to here. He had brand new contact lenses, so he's like this. And he's got, I have one little box like this. He's got like 20 boxes stacked up. And I have to wait for this guy in front of me. And he turns around and he says, "Hi, my name's Steve Ivey." And I said, "I'm Kevin Lipton." And I met actually Steve and Jim Ruddy and Dave Bowers, all very much karmically at very much the same time, 41 years ago, and it could be exactly the same day. Little did I know a year later I'd be working for the guy, but I was in Dallas, and he basically took me in and adopted me as his own, as an incredible mentor. Matter of fact, Steve was going to really actually literally adopt me. He had talked my mom and my dad into letting me stay in Dallas and live there with the promise that I would finish my high school education and work for him after school every day. But actually, I was still very young, and I got homesick and decided to run home after the summer, which was the most incredible summer of my life. But to show you what a brilliant businessman he was even then, he was in his early 20s, at my very first A&A convention working for Steve, which was in Los Angeles, Steve was smart enough to do two things. Number one, he had a specially made giant treasure chest to hold all the boxes of coins in so I wouldn't lose any of them. And number two, and this is the God's truth, he hired a full-time nanny for me at the coin show. She was her only job was to watch me to make sure I didn't get lost or lose anything or run amok. But it really didn't work. I still managed to sneak off once, and I left the checkbook on a pinball machine. And well, I was a kid, I got bored during the day, it was fun doing coins, but I also need a little me time. That me time changed as I got older. But thankfully, I ran back and I got the checkbook, the whole giant checkbook with like all 100 checks in it. I just ran there. I knew he'd kill me if he caught me. So that's a couple of things to see. Then as I got older and more mature and I was growing up a little bit, they used to have this fabulous coin show in San Francisco every year called the Jack Tar Coin Show. And now that I was a big boy now, I was like, I think at the time I was like 19 or 20. I was very mature for my age. And Steve said he would share a table with me at the Jack Tar Coin Show. So Steve went out for lunch, and this guy came in, and you'll see him at coin shows if you see. His name is, it's Abdul. He's a jewelry dealer, but back then, all he had was this really cruddy silver jewelry. And he comes in and he asked me if I would share a table with him. So I said, of course I would. So I sold him half of Steve's table for $20 at the coin show. Well, but he took the whole table. He just spread everything out in all the showcases. And I left to go out for lunch, and Steve comes back, and there's this guy there he'd never seen before in his life, and all of his crappy jewelry is all throughout all the showcases. And Steve starts screaming at him. He goes, no, 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 I paid for this table. He said, Jackson Eby sold it to me. And he goes, who's Jackson Eby? I told him my name was Jackson Ivy. Just let him know. So he was a little confused. So Steve was not happy with that. And actually, that was the last time Steve shared a table with me, which I thought was very rude of him. I was just trying to be a good businessman and cut expenses. But anyway, this man is brilliant. He's, and again, I always get very personal. David says not to be so personal, but I can't help it because that's what these people are to me. From him to Jim Halpern to Steve to Q David Bowers, you know, I come up here before all of you people, and I realize that the blessings I have in my life are because of the relationships I have with these people, and I've learned so much of what I do and who I am, both certainly not just coins, but about life and being a better businessman. And it's just, the man is a brilliant businessman. To this day, we talk daily, weekly, whether we're working on a deal or just talking about business. And you know, if you want to be a better businessman, you know, the guy right here is who you speak to. I mean, a brilliant, brilliant guy, and I appreciate every moment I've had with him, and a fabulous induction into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, before we ask Steve to come up, there is one story. Now just picture this in your mind. We're going to turn the clock back to 1976. And those of you who don't know, but those of us who were there, we can tell you that between 1976 and 1980, called the Jimmy Carter bull market, rare coin values increased incredibly. So the Coin Dealer newsletter showed 3-cent nickels in proof in 1976 at $110. And we saw them sell for $3,000 to $3,500 by 1980. So in general, you could add a zero, coins went up about 1,000%. So now, I'm not sure that he knew this was coming, but in 1976, this shows you Steve's creativity, Steve ran an ad that said 90% off. So what he did was he took his inventory and he just added a zero to all of the prices. And then you could call up Sir Coin, Steve Ivy Rare Coins, and buy the coins at a 90% discount. So a 3-cent nickel instead of $125 or whatever, $130 was $1,300. And you could call up and if I did the math right, you could call up and get a 90% discount. Well, as I remember, Steve, the ad was kind of a bomb. Didn't do that well. People really didn't get it, you know. And but then you think back, and because he said, you know, coins could do really well, and gave a couple of good reasons why they could, and it all came true. And the coins, of course, did go up 1,000%. But imagine the creativity of the 90% off ad. So with great respect and great pleasure, and love, Kevin and I would like to induct into the Coin Dealer Hall of Fame Steve Ivy.
First, I'd like to say how greatly honored I am to receive this recognition today, especially considering it was voted on by my peers. That's incredibly special to me. It's hard to believe that I've been in the coin business as long as I have. As David mentioned, 50 years. As you can imagine, there were very low barriers of entry at that point in time. They're still not high, but I think I started out with $40 to give you some idea of the entry fee, so to speak. It really does seem like yesterday that I started this business. Every day when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited. David mentioned that Heritage does a lot of different things now, and that's true. We're in 38 different categories, but I'm a coin dealer. I'm a coin dealer at heart. All this other stuff is the same as coins in many respects, but I still I don't buy and sell coins anymore, not personally, but I still get excited when I see them, and it's just a tremendous business, and I love every minute of it. The memories I have going back 50 years are incredibly vivid. I remember when Kevin came up behind me 37 years ago or 38 years ago. I even remember you had whatever it was, a long time ago, you had a box of Isabella quarters that you had bought from somebody over the counter up there. And I can't remember every single A&A I've ever been to. This is my 50th, and I can remember most of it so far. But I remember meeting so many wonderful people. I have so many friends in this business. I am so blessed to have found this business. It is the people are interesting. They run the gamut in terms of professions. Most of you, and I don't mean this as a compliment, I don't mean this to say anything other than what I believe. Everybody in this business, as a collector and a dealer, is really a very smart person. I don't know how that happened, and maybe I'm a little prejudiced, but I really believe that. And it's made my life wonderful. I consider myself one of the luckiest guys on the planet. I can't imagine having entered a business. I mean, there's other businesses where, I could have started building computers in my garage in 1984 or started writing software in 1978. But I don't think I would have had any better time. The rewards, both psychically and monetarily, are more than any one person could ever expect. And I'm really blessed because of that. And so, thank you, all of you, some of which I don't know. All of y'all are registry collectors, and by the way, thank you for inventing the registry system.
Lucky guess.
Yeah, lucky, yeah. And thank you guys for being collectors and making this business what it is. Thank you very much.